Here's what to know ahead of the high-stakes Trump-Putin summit that will be closely watched worldwide. It will be held at a U.S. Army base in the city of Anchorage, Alaska. Alaska was once Russian territory until it was sold to the United States in 1867 and then became a U.S. state in 1959. The venue, Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. It is a major American military hub that played a key role in monitoring the Soviet Union during the Cold War. This will be Mr. Putin's first visit to the U.S. in 10 years. It's also his first trip since the International Criminal Court, or the ICC, issued a warrant accusing him of war crimes related to the conflict in Ukraine. But the U.S. isn't part of the ICC, so it has no obligation to arrest him. The summit is happening because Mr. Trump has been pushing to end the war in Ukraine, but without much success so far. He will meet Mr. Putin one-on-one. The Ukrainian President, Vladimir Zelensky, is notably absent. It appears he wasn't invited. And that has raised concerns in Kyiv and across Europe. EU leaders have urged Mr. Trump to defend Europe's security interests at the summit. Mr. Trump also said that Mr. Zelensky will be the first person that he calls after the talks, adding that if it goes well, he hopes to arrange a three-way summit involving Ukraine. Mr. Trump said he was unsure whether an immediate ceasefire could be achieved, but expressed interest in brokering a peace agreement. And as for what Putin wants, analysts say that beyond international recognition, he's seeking to retain as much Ukrainian territory as possible, including the areas currently under Russian control. Russia currently occupies all of Crimea, which it annexed in 2014, as well as parts of 4 other Ukrainian regions. Well, the U.S. president has suggested that a ceasefire deal could involve territorial exchanges, but says that no concessions will be made without Kyiv's full involvement. Ukraine has also rejected ceding parts of its land. The war has been ongoing for more than 3.5 years, with several failed attempts to negotiate peace. And now all eyes are on Alaska and whether this summit can finally shift the course of the conflict. Tony Waterman is in Anchorage, Alaska, and tells us how realistic President Trump's land-swapping proposal is.
President Trump is calling this a land swap, but in reality, this would be a handing over of territory because Russia right now controls about 1/5 of Ukrainian territory, while Ukraine has managed to capture just a couple of square kilometers of Russian soil. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has also said that it's not possible for the country to just hand this land over because it would violate the Constitution. An amendment would be needed to redraw the country's borders. There's also this moral objection inside of Ukraine. You've had tens of thousands of people who have died trying to defend this territory. You also have thousands of people who are still living inside this land that could potentially be handed over to Russia. Presumably, they would have to give up their homes, give up their citizenship, perhaps, if they want to stay, or just desert the land completely. So there are moral objections. There is also concerns that giving any land to Russia would embolden Putin to make further advances in the future. And this is why Ukraine is demanding that there are security guarantees from the United States and also from the European Union. Instead, what we are seeing, perhaps, to sweeten this deal for President Putin is this economic incentives package, which would potentially grant Russia access to natural resources here in Alaska, perhaps allowing them to develop oil reserves in the strait that separates Alaska from Russia, but also allowing Russia to mine these rare earth minerals inside of Ukraine, in that territory that they already control. So this is one way that perhaps they could sweeten the offer. But a lot of the analysts that I have been speaking to say that it's an inevitability at this point that some of Ukraine's land is going to be given to Russia, something that they say would have taken place regardless if Trump were in office, whether it were a Democrat or a Republican, given the way that this war has played out and how much land right now Russia has.